Happy New Year 2021 to everybody. On behalf of
Happy New Year.
MSMA and Tamil Nadu doctors in UK, I welcome all the participants and our guest speaker. Do you know 9th January is the International Day of NRIs? So the whole India is celebrating, yes, well-being of NRIs today, and what an occasion to hold our meeting today.
Yes, right.
Yeah. So apart from that, we have a major health issue across the world. 1.9 million people died across the world due to COVID pandemic. In India, 151,000 people died, and in UK, 79,000 people died. And it's still ongoing problem with the variant. And India, they, just for a joke, they call it English virus. So Chinese virus is now been transformed into English virus. And I don't know when we will come out of this horrible situation. During this period, the whole world, all the countries are united to fight against the virus. They all looking for the remedy, vaccine. Now, in vaccine, England and India joined together to develop a vaccine. It was developed in UK, Oxford AstraZeneca, and been manufactured in Serum Institute, Pune, billions of doses. So I call this as a joint operation against the war with the virus. Now, to address this key area, we have a guest speaker from Mumbai, Dr. Arogyasamy Velumani. For those who don't know about Dr. Velumani, he's originally from Coimbatore. He did his MS in biochemistry and doctorate in Mumbai, and started his ThyroCare technology to do a blood test. It's called ThyroCare, but he does blood test for every single thing in human body. It's a very successful story, and I'm sure he will cover in his talk. So without much ado, I welcome Dr. Velumani.
Thank you, Dr. Shanmugraj.
Thank you.
Thank you for some of you who might have heard me when I had come to London a year back. I will tell a bit about me, not that story. Story itself will run 45 minutes, but I can tell you in 2 minutes. I am a son of a landless farmer, born as a farmer, grown as a scientist till I was 37. Then for the last 25 years, I have been an entrepreneur. Now I am taking a role of a good storyteller. I am not a medical doctor. I was a mathematician. I happen to work in the research institute, Baba Atomic Research Institute in Mumbai. I worked there for 15 long years, where I had romance with antibodies. The area where I worked was immunology. So I know little bit about what makes man to survive when an infection comes. That is the immunity. So that's the background, and in short, I have created a great business model, very innovative one. In the entire world, India is cheapest in healthcare. I'm pretty sure all of you are aware. And in entire India, I am the cheapest. And I have 40% profit in my company, which I run. I have employed 10,000 freshers. I employ only freshers. I don't take experienced. My company is listed in National Stock Exchange with a market cap of 5,000 crore, and I own 65% of it. Zero debt man, never paid EMI in my life. Either I was an individual or as a promoter of an organization. So that suffices about what I have journeyed. I'm 62 years old. And I did not put on adequate light, but then I looked very dark. Now there is a light in my head, looks like I'm a surgeon. And bear with that. And let's look at the subject and the topic, what is COVID and what havoc it has played from the January of this year. The anniversary of the virus was in somewhere in December 15th. And now we have seen of 12 months of constant pounding by this unknown, unseen virus. As Dr. Shanmugharaj said, it started as a Chinese virus. I still believe, majority of the world still believes it is Chinese virus. It is not a English virus. And it within no time from Wuhan, it went to all international airport cities faster, which means it was exported by passports. And then it sounded very sad when European countries and US and UK, all of them in the early March gave a very grim picture. But Mr. Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of the country, felt that India should not become Italy. And he declared a national lockdown with 4 hours of advance notice. And that was something which was either I call as too bold, too fast, too big a decision, but that had resulted into serious impact on the common man's life. I'm sure all of you sitting in England must have seen how people from different metro cities moved to Bihar, UP, Odisha, Bengal. Having said that, there was a false promise by the Prime Minister that 21 days, this war can be won. But I don't know what was the confidence to say so, because 21 lockdowns have gone, each of 21 days. Still, we are under lockdown. This is virus. You can't starve it by sitting in balcony. It is not a beast. It is not an animal to die because of starvation, because it didn't get to eat. This virus has come, will be there. It is very difficult to wipe it out. Having said that, for the last 10 months, the entire virus knowledge we all got only from television anchors, not from a virologist, not for medical specialists. Bureaucrats, politicians, and the television anchors, newspaper editors, all of them have looked at the virus very, very different. Every day, every infected person was a breaking news from different parts of the country. So much of a breaking news, it broke the hearts of the common man, and he became completely panicked. For 4-5 months, no one came to the roads. But over a period of time, we understand this virus is very, very unique. It has a power to kill more rich than poor. So if we look at what kind of deaths per million have happened in this world, I'm not going by infected per million. Infected per million depends upon you screen or not. And by not screening, your number may be no. But also by screening using a less sensitive method, your numbers could be low in terms of infected per million. But death per million is very difficult to hide. It can be manipulated. A COVID death can be declared non-COVID, and non-COVID can be declared as COVID. But then number of deaths in India year 2019 and year 2020 remains the same. If it is different, there is no evidence. So I personally, as a scientist, I realize the entire year the governments have become poorer, the politicians have become richer. I'm talking to people in England, so I can afford to tell it. If I'm talking to people in India, I have to be scared. But it is true that politicians have manipulated the purchases, the distribution, the cost, the budget, a lot of things. but let it be what it is, because that is part of, it looks like everywhere happening. But my assessment is death per million in European countries is somewhere north of 1300. That of US is somewhere around 1000. That of India is only 100. Now, this is a great news for Indians. I won't, many though call that it is all the power of governments. I don't believe that. I have a reason to believe that poor have lesser impact due to virus, COVID-19 virus. Now, I knew I am in Twitter. My tweets have been going on for the last 10 months. I have been telling from the day one, India is blessed, India is blessed, India is blessed. And no one believed. And today people think that, yes, Dr. Velumani said at that time itself, India is blessed. Let me tell you, majority of you are from India. You must have been born and brought up here, or your parents must have been. But let me tell you, in India, the infant mortality is much, much, much higher than any of the European or UK or US. What high infant mortality says, that a large number of them are because of respiratory disorders. So what does it tell? It tells for Indians, there were infinite infections. This is one more infection. For the Western world, for the richer countries, infections are far low, very few, and COVID-19 infection has become a biggest challenge for them to face and come out. Forgive me if I oversimplify. I'm not a medical man, but I know a fair bit of background of immunology. And I have a reason to believe. I run a nationwide laboratory network. So I was the first guy to declare in India, immediately after finishing 50,000 investigations on COVID antibody IgG, I found 30% of Indians as early as August. I found 30% of Indians were positive. So I tweeted, and that became a big news. Many question, what nonsense is this? Is it epidemiology? What he thinks of himself? I didn't claim anything except telling that in 50,000 population, like an exit poll, somebody can tell some party is winning or losing. He may be right, he may not be right. So I did say so. It created a lot of controversies. But then I kept on telling, now 35%, now 45%, now 55%. And just 4 days back, I said it is 70%. And trust me, in India, peak was only in the September 2nd fortnight, where the number of deaths were touching 1,300 per day. Today, in January first week, it is 300 per day. India had no multiple peaks. India had only one peak. And that peak all resulted into, as Dr. Shanmugharaj said, 1.5 lakh deaths. And for a country with 1.35 billion, this is just nothing. In fact, I dare to ask a question, how did you declare that as pandemic? Pandemic, epidemic means it should kill 4 times more the number of people killed otherwise. So this is my own contention. I don't want all of you to even believe me, but I am called to talk, and I have my freedom to tell what my mind says is right. So having said that, things looks like not settled in the US, not settled in UK, not settled in some parts of Europe, because there appears to be a lesser antibody response. If India has 70% of people with antibody, it looks like 20 or 25% of the people only have antibodies in the Western world. And it appears that they are going to be suffering till they get adequate threshold of immunity to bring down the peak once for all. So the story is, vaccines have come very fast. Normally the vaccines take many years to come. It looks like, from what I read from UK, US, and even in India, Companies have come up with the vaccines, debatable, questionable efficacies as well as safety. But let us hope it helps and it is going to be rolled out. In India also 2 brands have come up. In India still it has not been rolled out. Maybe some big elite MPs, MLAs have got it privately. There appears to be confusion for the government. Why should you truly have to document it digitally for 1.38 billion population for a vaccination? You go ahead and vaccinate. 1 more dose of vaccination should not damage. But somehow, currently it looks like some manufacturing blocks, some IT blocks, some execution blocks, India has still not rolled out. So if you ask me, Dr. Velumani, are you eagerly waiting for vaccine? I must tell you, I am eagerly waiting, though I am not fully convinced that India needs vaccine. Why I say so is, in my office, 70% of the people are antibody positive. I am not positive. So my mind says, if I get a vaccine, I will get the advantage of antibody to fight it against. So it would help. Unfortunately, in India, poor are more. Even in India, when we talk about UK, US versus India, it is a per capita income of $40,000 versus per capita income of $3,000. If you take India itself, Mumbai and Patna, there is a vast difference in the per capita income. And in India also, only metro cities where per capita income is high appear to have had more casualties, less antibodies. The rural villages, the hutments were in Mumbai, hutments had 20% higher antibody than the people who were living in bungalows. So all overall says that poor needs lesser, or poor is not as desperate as rich is in the world as well as in India. There is a perception, all of you know, Indian always feel that UK, Europe, US is much better product. So all of them are insisting, why local vaccine, why not vaccine from those countries? But you know, you can afford to pay $20, Indian cannot afford to pay $3. So per capita income decides how much you can afford also. So this is my overall perception about vaccine. And the government's made enough money in testing, not government. Politicians made enough money in testing. Politicians want to make enough money in what you call as vaccination also. So that is anyhow their game. According to me, in India, COVID is over. The strain which is reported to have come to England from South Africa through England to India appears to have no impact, and I don't think anybody has understood any difference in what that new strain has compared to the earlier strain. And the virus manufacturers appear to be endorsing, maybe for their own, furthering their own balance sheets, they're endorsing that the new strain has less problem because our vaccine can cover that strain also. So it is all overall, I can talk about it. If you were a non-medical man, I can keep telling stories for another 20 minutes, 30 minutes. But since you are all medical people, I would love to listen to your questions and then answer if I know the answer. And even if I say a wrong answer, please forgive me, because I talk bold, I talk plain, and I want positive feeling among the society. In Hindi, there is a saying that jo dar gaya, wo mar gaya. So I don't want everyone to become as such already. They are panicked and get panicked more. I have done a balancing job against thousands of negative minds, but I'm pretty sure for you also, I will give you frank answer, not a wrong answer. Back to Dr. Shanmugaraj, and you can curate if there are questions. I will be very keen to answer. I can keep talking, but I don't want to keep telling what I feel you should know. It's important that I should say something about what you want to know.
Thank you. Well, we allocated 30 minutes, and it's always clever people with the wisdom they don't need 30 minutes. You have proved it.
Thank you.
So you didn't even take 30 minutes. And we have lot of questions. As you said, we are medical doctors, and we have our roots, relatives, friends in India. So we all have many questions. I'm going to invite one by one. Before that, just few things you probably didn't touch upon. I'm going to tell my friends and participants about you. His lab headquarters in Mumbai. I believe he collects samples from home from all over India. And every day there's 70 flights carrying blood samples to his lab. And results are delivered online, most often within 24 hours and at the latest within 48 hours. It's very cheap. 63 results. He only charges under 12 pounds. 12 pounds in UK, not a big money.
Which result?
All biochemical results, full blood count, USNEs, liver function, coagulation screen.
Oh, CBC.
Yeah, everything.
CBC, I deliver in $1.
$1. All right. Okay, that's 75 rupees.
And I make 40% profit.
Very good. Yeah, very good. Excellent. We didn't know about your company. We could have bought some shares before.
Still you can buy it, but all equity investments are subjected to market risks.
All right. Okay. Anyway, so that's his background. Then I have some couple of questions before I throw it to the floor. Well, basically, I listened to your talk before. You normally give a lot of punches, and you restricted your punches today. So I'm going to mention one of your popular punch: burn your calories, not salaries. So that hit me hard. So I increased my exercise more than I do normally.
No, that is no way to burn the calories, and you are actually burning your salaries to burn your calories if you are going to gym.
Is it?
But if you have refused to have a maid servant at home, that means you are not burning your salary to burn the calorie.
Dr. Velumani, with great respect, we are living in England. Where do we go for servants? We do by ourselves.
That means you are already burning calories. Only in India, for some people, there are 3 servants.
Okay. And then you mentioned that you will have vaccine when it's available. Please do. Most of our participants already received the first dose. It gives us mental strength. We don't know whether it covers 70% or 90%, but it gives you mental strength. So please take it when it's available. Do you know when it's available?
It could come anytime. I am running a laboratory. I have done 700,000 RT-PCR tests. So they should classify me as a healthcare worker, and I am already 60 plus age. So they should give me some priority. So I expect this to happen in next 10 days.
Excellent. Now, my first question is, you said Indians are covered with 70% antibodies now, but the virologists and the experts say the antibodies to COVID virus is short-lived. What's your comment on that?
I think the virologists will not tell it. This will be told only by the news anchors of television channels. Virologists fully well know vaccination by definition is, once given, it protects lifelong. So people here have a different opinion that vaccination, injected only is vaccination. The virus itself is vaccinating, is not vaccination. On that part, I don't agree. The one which gives you antibody response is vaccination. It could be injected from outside, or it could be infected by the virus itself. So in my personal opinion, antibodies are short-lived, but antibody producing cells have memory, And this memory of the cells will keep on reproducing it for a pretty long period. But since the virus is no more dead, once in a year, you will keep on encountering this virus for some reasons. And that time the antibody levels will keep going up. Let me tell you, there is a virus called as CMV, cytomegalovirus.
Yeah.
And in pregnancy, this is monitored. And let me tell you, almost 70-80% of the women have positive CMV, which means that is around. But one more thing I want, this is a medical community. I talk thinking that, I'm talking to a layman. Let me tell you, vaccination is not going to prevent the virus coming to you. The virus will come to you anyhow. Your body will react sufficiently that you don't go to the hospital. So the virus vaccination only reduces the hospitalizations. It doesn't reduce the number of infected. So this is my perception about vaccination. If I am wrong, I'm wrong. But I think I know pretty well about how these T cells, B cells, all these coordinate, how fast one IgG comes, when IgM comes, how long IgG remains, IgM remains, and then what is booster dose, and then when you want an immunity, how to raise it, all these things. See, my entire PhD thesis was raising antibodies for thyroid testing hormone diagnosis kits. So a pretty long period I have spent on it. That time I did not know I will be talking about antibody one day in the news channel. But I'm pretty sure that science has not changed. And I also want all of you to understand, all modern medicine, science, vaccine, everything, only 100 years we have been talking. Humans have been living for 10,000 years or much more than that. So many viruses must have come and gone. The body only can protect. Body has protected. Now virus vaccination experts are claiming that mine is 94% protecting, 95% protecting. Trust me, virus itself is protecting 99% of the people. Because only 100 in a million have died. So I am pretty sure after 3 more months, 6 more months, we will be more wiser. We were not wise enough because panic blocked our brain functioning. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I want to ask the participants, whoever wants to ask questions, please put it in your chat box. I have a statement from Themoli. Themoli, is that a statement or question? What she says is, a lot of doctors lost their life both in India and UK. What's your question, Themoli? Are you there?
I am here, but I wanted to ask, we doctors are immune to most of the illnesses. That's what, because we always get exposed, like Dr. Velmani said, small organisms hit us. So we are supposedly immunized by naturally. How come then a lot of doctors, they lost their life everywhere in the world?
Let me tell you, I salute medical community, because even in my own office, when everything was locked down, when everything was very difficult, my employees did not go home. And trust me, they have opened and closed that VTMs, thousands of VTMs. They have done work with the live virus day and night. Why I say that is, every healthcare worker has done enormous to this pandemic management, sometimes with some assured extra incentives, but majority of the time it is purely commitment. Having said that, I want you to understand my views about it. If you look at it, police have suffered a lot. And people who were on the roads have suffered a lot than the same profession people sitting at home. So one thing is clear, And the more you have an exposure, the more you are infected, and the more you are infected, by percentage death, more will be dying. So this is one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, I have a reason to believe that environment in which you have worked must be having so many virus per square centimeter, per cubic meter. It's very difficult to tell. You had lost doctors in spite of having a better immunity, or they didn't have immunity. But I must tell you, if you have had exposures with patients of various illnesses, there is a likelihood you have a better immunity by nature, by science. This is my submission.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Velumani. Elil Anand, you have a question too.
Yes. Hello, Dr. Velumani.
Hello.
I met you when you came for the Parliament.
Yes. Yes. I remember your name.
Yeah, and also, your talk was well received with humor and very inspirational.
Thank you.
Similar to today. Thank you. Personally, I have a question to you. I had my second dose of vaccination day before yesterday. And I'm also, I run a Tamil radio here, and through that we are trying to educate actually about the importance of vaccination. In fact, we are tying up with the NHS England and advising people about vaccination. So what we have found here is what they call the BAME community, basically all ethnic minorities. Number one, they are more prone for, the mortality and morbidity has been very high. But we don't know what the reasons is. I'm based on the UK experience. And also now they are saying even the uptake of vaccination among the Asian community in UK, they have started rolling out to vulnerable people, but people are saying no to that. And it's interesting for you to, when I'm hearing you are saying, India doesn't need vaccination. I don't know whether I got it wrong, but whether that made me reflect whether is there any cultural difference between Asians wherever they are living. Do we have this sort of a natural thing we have, don't we? The Ayurveda, homeopathy, it's all in our system. We want to have natural. Is that the reason why we are advocating let us get immunity naturally rather than all these medication, vaccination as seen as a more artificial thing? So I just wondered, is there any sort of a cultural thinking going on? And especially in India, do we actually, all of our parents and they are all in India. So are you saying we should not vaccinate them or only vaccinate the vulnerable?
No, actually, I'll tell you, I talk.
Dr. Velumani,
Yeah. Sorry. I talk neutral, not against vaccine. That I want to make you to understand. The very fact I said in India only 100 in a million have died, and in Western world 1,000 in a million have died. My submission is they need it very urgently than India. Number one. Number two, even in India, richer needs it urgently than the poorer. But vaccination, there is no harm in it. Whether that was truly pandemic, whether vaccination truly helps or not, vaccination is worth it, take it. So this is my submission. Coming to why India has had a kind of mild punch by the virus. One, I said that there is too much of exposure to a lot of infections very early. Number two, India is an young country with the mean age of 27. That of England, if I am not wrong, must be 45. And this 20 years of gap is one more reason why the Western world, all high per capita income countries have high mean age. Please analyze it. I am from a village, but if you carefully go through, you will understand. Wherever per capita income is high, there the mean age of the country is very high, except London, except Japan. Japan is a unique a kind of exception there. So age is supporting, according to me. Many in India believe India was a tuberculosis headquarter. For tuberculosis, you injected what you call as BCG. And that was a mixture of lot of masala inside. That masala helps now against COVID. This is some kind of an argument. Next argument is, see, chloroquine was extensively used because India was a malaria bed and it is a tropical country. Now that is helping. Now this is one more set of argument. There is one more set of argument. Look, we are all Indians are more vegetarian. Because we are vegetarian, our virus is less effective. If you eat all nonsense what everybody eats, you would have lost more lives. I have no belief that any one is totally right. Few of it are nothing may be contributing. But if you ask me, rich have pampered body, poor have a body which was left to undergo all harassment. This is one reason according to me. The second reason, this is my own doubt, but the Caucasian population appear to have lost more deaths per million than the Indians and the Mongolians and the rest of the community. I have no statistics, but I am looking at from my own lens that is that people, Gore, Vellakaran appears to have a higher, received much bigger pain than the rest of the world. Elil Anand, I don't have any better answer. I think I have tried to give you the best possible answer.
Thank you. Now, Ravi uncle raised his hand. Ravi.
Thanks, Raju. Thanks, Dr. Velmani. My question is twofold. One is your view with the background immunology on the booster dose. We injected the first dose and gave appointment for thousands of people for the second dose. As of last week, the government has asked us to cancel those appointments, and the second dose is to be given anywhere up to 12 weeks. So we've gone back on what the Pfizer company has said, as well as what we had promised our patients. The second dose must be taken at 3 weeks for a good antibody response, anywhere 90 to 95%. But health and economics dictate from the government says, look, better to inject more people and get 50% response and leave the second dose. I don't know what your view is, but lucky Eril has had his second dose. I'm due to have mine next week and looks like it's going to be canceled. And so Raju is also in the same position. The second question is, now other two vaccines have come now, AstraZeneca and Moderna. Combining the vaccine, if somebody has a first dose of the Pfizer, and looks like we may be promoting either the AstraZeneca or the Moderna for the second dose. I just wanted to get your views on this.
Right. I'll tell you how I learned about antibodies and the behavior of, am I audible? Yes.
Yep.
So the behavior of lymphocytes. We used to raise antibodies for T3, T4 hormones. So there used to be injection given to rabbits. The first dose we generally give an X amount of what we call as immunogen. Immunogen means it immuno response generation. So it's immunogen. So we inject it. After 21 days, we give a second dose. After another 21 days, we take the blood and study. It has enough antibodies. If there were 10 animals injected as a batch, 2 will not have antibody. 8 of them will have antibody. In 8, 2 of them will have mild antibody. 2 more of them will have infinite antibody. And then the ones which don't have an antibody, we give a third injection. And the mild ones also, we give a third injection. And sometimes we need to give a fourth immunization for that animal which did not have any response in the first one. So finally, all animals don't behave in the same way because it's its own innate immunity which gives a response. Now what we used to do, this is only now preparation. Now the rabbit is ready for me for doing my business. It can give antibody. So what do we do? Every 3 months, you give one more booster. And after 21 days, you will find antibody levels going up too high. And then you harvest. After 1 more month, you go for 2 more months or 3 more months, go and take the blood, there won't be antibody. Then give 1 more booster. Then after 21 days, you will once again get that antibody, which was even more than what it was earlier. So by design, the immune system is 1 dose protects. Second time, if you encounter a virus, you got the second dose now, and your antibody response will be faster. But if you were a man who did not have adequate immune response, probably even a third one will help you to have substantial antibody. So there is no uniform research which says per kilogram body this much of like pharmaceuticals. There is no dosage. So this is my submission. I am again telling you, this is only I have played with animals and I have seen how antibody gets elevated, suppressed. So we draw graphs and see how many times we have given booster injections. And let me also tell you, because I found in 1 ml of rabbit blood, I could do 100,000 tests. I, as a scientist, came out and started this business. So this antibody was my true business. And I am extremely proud today to tell all my experience about how I dealt with rabbits and antibodies.
Thank you, Ravi.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Does it answer your question, Ravi?
Yeah. I was just quickly mixing the different brands.
Now all of you must be remembering, sometimes you mix vodka with whiskey and with rum. What is impact, you only will know. But all are C2H5OH. So all of them should give you a better impact. This is again my limited scientific knowledge. Sorry about oversimplifying.
Thank you.
Okay. But Ravi, I think Pfizer is running, a company is running a campaign that UK government is playing with the human lives. So the government might change their mind.
Not according to this morning. We've been told clearly to cancel all the second doses.
Right.
So after I finish this, I got another headache to cancel the patients now. And AstraZeneca has been delivered.
Dr. Shanmugaraj.
Yes, Dr. Velmani.
Who actually tells that someone else is playing with life could be actually playing with life. Be careful.
All right. All right. So that's a caution I say we all should bear in mind. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Anybody else who want to ask question to Dr. Velmani?
Shanmugaraj, may I ask a question, please?
Oh, yes. Jayapalan. Jayapalan is our hero from Coimbatore, Dr. Velmani, like you.
Vanakkam, vanakkam.
Vanakkam, Dr. Velmani. I am very, it was one of the best talks I have heard.
Thank you very much.
It has had very blunt and strong messages. Of course, I do not agree with all the messages. Neither of us are virologists, so I would not argue about that point.
Perfect.
But however, your presentation, you are proved you are a man from Coimbatore.
Thank you very much.
Now, sir, I want to ask you this question. You made a very strong statement about politicians are getting richer, the country is getting poorer. I
Yes.
agree 100%. But subsequently, you went on to say it is the rich who need the vaccination, the rich who are suffering from this illness, than the poor. In my opinion, sir, when a rich man dies, it is very obvious because he is who and all those things, it is in the newspaper. Whereas a poor man in the slum dies, nobody knows. He doesn't even exist before and he doesn't exist now. And now, very, very important persons like yourself, if you say the rich only need, you didn't say only, rich need vaccination more than the poor. Faster, quicker, needed, whatever. Whatever you said was the poor doesn't need that much. So if it is the attitude is taken, don't you think already poor are ignored? As Elil was saying earlier on, the BAME population, you know, even in America, it is the black community which died and affected more, the poor. If you, especially in India, you know that accountability is not that, I'm sorry to say that, I am
No
also
problem.
it will give an excuse for the neglect the poor more, and they give it to the rich and make many benefits. I would like
Yes,
to welcome your opinion very much. Thank you.
I fully understand, appreciate the emotional aspect of it. And I am from a village. Even today, I don't enjoy with people of my own status, and nor people who are richer than me. I only enjoy with people of village. If I have said that poor people do not require that urgently, it's only to tell that they can wait. Now, this is something because I always believe if you don't have food, first give food. If you don't have basics, first give basics. So India is such a poor country where very basic amenities for Indians government could not provide. So if I am asked, virus created panic is too much and unnecessary. I have been telling, I will continue to tell. But I do agree, poor should not be ignored, poor should be supported. And if I had communicated to you that poor can be neglected, that's not intentional. And I am doing free of cost tests for poor in a day, 10,000 people. Their needs are different. Their needs are not vitamin D. Their needs are not vitamin B12. Their needs are HIV, HBsAg, HCV, because that only kills, not nutrition related parameters. I fully endorse, and I am very happy that you reminded me. I will moderate my tone accordingly, but I am for the poor, and always emotionally I am connected to them. Thank you very much.
Sir, in no way I said that you are not for the poor. You are doing phenomenal service for the poor. I do not disagree with you at all. But what I am saying is the politicians will make this as an excuse. That's all. But I really commend all your activities for the poor, and I long may continue your success for that reason and that reason alone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jayapalan. Selvam has a question. Selvam, are you there? Yeah, please unmute.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Raju. I thought about the second dose when Ravi asked, the response was alcohol is alcohol. But did the companies not say that you have to give the same vaccine, the second dose, because the nature of the vaccine production is different? Like AstraZeneca is mRNA. I think the others are slightly different. I think I'm not absolutely clear. In that case, then the second dose has to be the same company what you had the first dose. What's your response to that, please?
Yeah, there are two species like male, female. In this virus also, there is two segments of virus. What for you have made? Have you made it for DNA or have you made it for mRNA? I do agree. If you had earlier gone to one category, the same category again will be more appropriate. But having said that, laboratories also practice to the customers, if you want reliable result, come to the same laboratory again and again. So there is a likelihood if any company is advocating, you come back to me. If that is only because there is no other similar species somebody else is telling, you are right. But I have a reason to believe in another 50 days time, in both species, there will be dozen options. And I don't think you need to stick to the same company, maybe same option of messenger RNA or the DNA you should choose for. So for that, the man who administers should see what you got administered earlier, and he must supposed to be accordingly advising. You are a medical doctor, so you understand. Imagine how a common man will get baffled with this kind of logical science. This is my opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you. Selvam, are you okay? Are you happy with that?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Amarendra, is that a question or a statement? Amarendra, are you there? Amar?
It's not a question. I just said it was a nice talk and well done. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay.
And I also wanted a recording. If this recording is done, then probably we can share it to the others.
Yeah, sure. I think thanks for reminding me, Dr. Velmani. We will edit the recording today and send it to all our participants. And also, we like to put it in the Facebook, if you're YouTube, if you're happy with.
No, perfectly all right. I have been talking in the same tone in India too, India also.
Right.
So I am perfectly all right.
Thank you. Any questions from the floor?
Vishwesh wanted to say something.
Sorry, is that Jay?
No, it is just a small comment. I just saw Vishwesh was raising his hand. I thought that probably he wanted to say something. But basically, I'm not an expert in any of this field of virology or immunology or a statistician or anything like that. I just generally felt that the statistics in India or per capita and then the infection rate is relatively less from the available sources compared to the Caucasian or the Western world. I think that the Indians, due to the general conditions of the poorer, and then they develop their own natural resistance of various kinds. Whether that was the reason or not, I don't know. I'm not an expert, just a comment and then asking the opinion compared to the Western standard of living is different, and we are, because as you say that, right, the rich needs, he commented, the speaker said that rich needs more priority to immunize rather than the poor, probably because of the same reasons, I suppose, compared to the Western world is showing a lot more death rates at the present time. I don't know, I may be right or wrong. I just thought that just a general comment about it. And
I will also add a little more here. I was told, why not poor, why only richer? Is that fair? Let me tell you, in India, children are ignored. People above 50 are supposed to be priority. Now, when people who make law are all old, they can always make law that old only give to be given first. So there is a what you call an argument. You have lived your life. Children have a lot to live. Why not children are priority? So every argument has its own side of it, its own logic of it. But I hope we don't have to spend too long a time to get everyone whose entire 7.5 billion appears to be needing this virus, this vaccine. So I am of that opinion. It will take 2 years, and it's all going to be how pricings are, how affordability is, how government is going to take out from its pocket. And unfortunately, all governments are not rich. All citizens in different countries have different levels of income. Very complicated, and it's very difficult to generalize.
Thank you. See, along this line, I just want to add the 2 vaccines hitting the headlines in Indian newspapers. And you stated that it's not available yet. Those are Covishield. Covishield is manufactured by Serum Institute, and this is the one joint effort of India and England. AstraZeneca, Oxford, manufactured in Serum Institute in Pune. And then the other one was Covaxin, which is manufactured by Bharat Biotech. There are a lot of criticism about this Covaxin because it hasn't completed its phase 3 trial. And then tell us about your opinion on that. Which one people should take in India? Covaxin or Covishield?
I am very sorry to tell, in India, it is not the science which rules, it is the power of bargaining which rules. I have understood that Serum Institute was already told you can roll out. But till Saturday evening, it is not rolled out.
Okay.
That means, like how post-election, when the majority is not there, it takes too long a time to prove to who has majority, because a lot of negotiations are happening in the backside. So there is a likelihood Serum is asking for a better rate, which government is not willing to give. And that is the reason why the trucks are still not loaded. This is no one gave me any intimation, but I can guess what must be the problem, because everybody, the entire 1.35 billion wants to see when the first million will be immunized.
Right.
So it appears that there are some challenges, but I have personally no insights into why Bharat Biotech undergoes criticism while Serum has comfort. It is purely a lot of arithmetics which is going in. But let me honestly tell you here, the game which these vaccine manufacturing companies are playing, I use the word game because until you know full science, it is a game. It is high risk, high tension drama. If their vaccine is the best, they will become the richest company in the country. And if by any chance after 1 million, if there is some complaint, they are gone, their company will not exist. This is the plus point and minus point, and this is the risk involved. I only hope that nothing is intentional if it is something beyond the control that is supposed to be faced by us. But my worry, or even I said to the earlier, I think his name was Jayabalan, that why poor should go late is if something worse happens, rich can still manage, poor will not be able to manage. So first allow 10% to undergo, Paila Bakra koi to jane do, this is in Hindi. Then you know that it is safe, then you can go there. So there is a risk. Sorry if I am disappointing Shanmugaraj and all people who have already got vaccinated, but taking is a risk, not taking is another risk. Weigh the risk and go for it.
Right. So the bottom line is, do you think it's rational for us to tell our friends and relatives in India to take it whichever available first? Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you. Okay, excellent. Ganesan has a question. Ganesh.
Thank you, Dr. Shanmuraju.
Oh, sorry, it's a Visvesaraya.
Yes, sir, that's my pet name from Andiyur.
All right, okay.
Thank you, Dr. Velmani. I'm glad that you are also Kongunadu subject, and I'm also from Andiyur, Kongunadu. Now, when I was young, in a village atmosphere, exposed to frequent infections and infestations, as you highlighted, we would have acquired quite a lot of immunity to various infectious agents. Now, having migrated to UK and living here for more than 40 years, the immunity level would have declined considerably and perhaps reached zero level. Similar to that, even people who continue to live in India, as they have become richer after the village atmosphere and walking barefoot and whatnot have you in the low socioeconomic group, once they become richer, they are less exposed to immunity boosting, topping up infectious agents. So they also would be more benefited by having vaccination, similar to other situations, those who have migrated to UK and Western world. What's your comment about such a way of thinking?
Right. I think all of you know, as a medical community, the brain develops in the first few years of life. Subsequently, the brain doesn't develop, it only gets enriched. So is immunity. The first 5 years of life, if you have spent in an environment where you had higher levels of infection, your body has learned it. As I said, these lymphocytes will keep the memory for the life. So if you have gone to US, any of the developed countries after your teenage, you still have power to resist. But of course, there are certain diseases which are not immunologically fought. For example, gastrointestinal disorders, they have nothing to do with immunology. So nothing to do with immunology is a wrong statement, less to do with the antibody-based immunology. So I am of that opinion that people who had their infancy in an environment where more infections they have got exposed to, they have lesser reasons to fall sick very often at a later stage, irrespective of whether they are continuing to live in that village or living in the ultra-modern sophisticated Western world.
Thank you.
Hope I have answered.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Visvesaraya. I think he has got a nice a gadget on his head. Did you buy that in Andiyur?
No, it's from North Carolina.
All right. Okay. Right. Thank you. Any further questions? I think there's one from Tamilarasan. Tamilarasan? He said a question or a statement. He says the rich should be vaccinated first.
As guinea pigs.
Is there a question or a comment?
Just a joke.
All right. Okay.
No. In that way, if we are in a haste, we are likely to have some challenges. Is a risk always trying to do something first, but at the same time, let me tell you honestly, immunization is least likely to give any side effect. But the side effect, if it happens, it will happen after 20 years, 30 years. No vaccination company can guarantee you anything about long-term effect because their long-term is only so far 20 weeks. So they have not seen 20 years. That's a risk which all of us are undergoing. I must tell you today, Punjab is known as a cancer state because Punjab was having highest level of pesticides in the early 40s, 50s. Now, they never knew that that will result into cancer burden after 25, 35 years. So everything has a risk. We are all here to take some risks. Taking is a risk, not taking is another risk. As I said, weigh the risk and take a call.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions from the floor? I think we have done very well, Dr. Velumani.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we normally we wanted to finish in 60 minutes. I think we 60 minutes we completed our conference. Then next comes the vote of thanks. Before the vote of thanks, I'd like to introduce committee members of our group. Is Grace here? Grace Jesudasan? Ravi? Jayapalan?
First class speech, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Velusamy. Thank you.
Ravi,
thank you very much.
And Ranga?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Velumani. I enjoyed your talk very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
The discussion was good as well.
The whole committee is in agreement, Dr. Velumani. We all very grateful and appreciate your talk. But I missed your punch dialogues. Not very. You haven't used many.
No. You are absolutely right. But if for me to keep my punches on, it should be a live auditorium with wine glass in everybody's hand.
Oh, see, right.
So now let us hope all this will be settling down in middle of 2021.
Yeah.
And in the end of 2021, we will plan to have in London one get together.
Okay.
And you can hear new powerful punchlines.
Right. Excellent. And why don't we join our annual dinner meeting then?
When is that?
We are trying to do May 30th and 31st this year, provided the whole vaccination is done well and the country is safe. If not, next May.
Yeah, I think it's better to delay it because we don't know what and all are the bottlenecks.
Yeah.
So let us not be in a hurry to toast. Cheers.
Thanks for your opinion.
Dr. Velumani, sorry, I'm Shanmuraj, one question. If you may permit me to ask Dr. Velumani. Sir, நீங்க எந்த வில்லேஜ்ல பிறந்தீங்க எந்த ஸ்கூல்ல படிச்சீங்க?
Right. I will be passing on one small document which contains 4 pages about me in 200 words. But to be precise, Appanaikanbatti Pudur is the name of the village, which is 7 kilometers from the small town of Solur, which itself is 20 kilometers from the city of Coimbatore. And I studied in all Tamil medium schools. Kamaraj was my hero because he brought meals to the school. Without that, I would have not gone to school. We were 5 children and my mother was the only earning member. My father was a nice man, never earned a single rupee. And this lady made sure all her children were Madras University graduates and Mumbai University postgraduates. I owe all my success to my mother, who made sure nothing stopped her in making us what we are. And I came to Mumbai in 1982, August 18, with 500 rupees in my pocket. No godfather in Mumbai, no Hindi I knew. But I think the one who were born in village were very, very lucky because they can withstand any environment. And I was fortunate. And I did my MSc, did my PhD, which were not dreamt when I finished my BSc. God was great. And then at some point of time, I thought risk I must take. At an age of 37, when my son was 7, my daughter was 5, I quit the job again, unconventionally. Like just now I was telling, with continuing BRC, there is a risk. By leaving BRC, there is another risk. And I weighed that risk is worth taking, and I took it. And today I have a wonderful company, never borrowed from anyone, never diluted my stock to anyone. Very, very wonderful journey. Thank you for asking me. I had another 1 or 2 minutes to explain that anybody can make it, especially poor can make it more.
Sir, நீங்க எந்த ஸ்கூல்ல கவர்மெண்ட் ஸ்கூல்ல படிச்சீங்களா?
ஆமாங்க, பஞ்சாயத்து யூனியன் ஆரம்ப பள்ளி.
Sir, you are a great inspiration for many people. God bless you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In other words, Coimbatore is your New York then, in your childhood.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Velmani. We enjoyed.
Thank you, Shanmugharaj. We will connect soon.
Hopefully, we will meet sometime in the future.
Sure.
I thank all the committee members, all the participants for sitting and listening to us on a Saturday, missing your shopping and other things. And I thank my co-host, Elil Anand and Sivapriya. Can I see your faces, please? Elil Anand and Sivapriya.
They have to make some noise to have the appearance, because Zoom only shows people who make noise.
Okay, so that's Elil Anand is a co-host and Sivapriya. We've done a great job, Elil Anand. Thank you. Sivapriya, thanks, Ma.
No problem.
Yeah, if you go to Mumbai, meet Uncle Velmani. Yeah.
I've actually met Velmani uncle before in Parliament. I think.
Oh, did you? Right.
Yeah, outside the little uncle. I met him.
Okay.
Myself.
Good. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And I'll declare the meeting is closed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.